During this video, I'm going to take you on a tour of the navigation of the SWIMS database. When we start out on the home page, you'll put in your WAMS ID, which is your user ID for SWIMS, and the password. And then, unless you are DNR staff, you click on External Users and Volunteers and then Login. This takes you to the home page. Anytime while you're signed in that you need to return to the home page, come up to the upper left-hand corner to the round DNR logo. Clicking on that will return you to this view. Let's go across this blue toolbar to see what else is here. My projects is literally the projects that you are associated with in the SWIMS database through a profile that is created for you. So looking at this screen, you see in the My Projects box, different projects that my name is associated with. Below that are tasks, and from there you can do things such as click on the Enter Data option and then actually start entering your data for fieldwork event. Project details has just some interesting things. So above I had 8 Shop Initiative, Jefferson County. If I click on people in the project details, I can actually see who else is associated to that project. If I were to click on any of the names here, then I would actually go to their profile. So if you are a AIS coordinator for your county, this is one of several places you could click on a name and then edit. So let's say, for example, that I am no longer going to be involved with the project. You could go to my profile and start the editing process from there. But let's go back, and I'm just going to use the back button on the screen. And then we'll look at view data. On this page, all of the data that opens up is for fieldwork events that I have either participated in and entered or recently updated, or in my case, I do a lot where I'll look up different fieldwork events and make sure they're associated to the correct project. So that's the case for everything you happen to see on this page at the moment. Because you're generally entering your own data or that for fellow staff, you're going to have an edit button, which is this green little box with a little pencil sticking out of it at the far left side of the screen. You are most likely going to have a delete button, and then you'll have a link, the blue numbers, which is link to go directly to the field work to look at it if you need to edit it or you want to review it in more detail. So the biggest thing I want to point out here is it's extremely rare to ever use the delete button. That is only used in cases such as you've entered some field work, you still have all the information at hand, but you realized you've really messed up that data entry and you want to start from scratch. Then you can go ahead, delete it, and start over. In this case, I would never even think to delete any of this field work because this is not stuff I originally entered, and I don't know if I would be messing up something for somebody else. So it's very rare that we ever use that option. Another thing to be aware of on this page is when you do go through, let's say I looked at the second one and I could edit it, but I'm not going to. Now when I go back to view data, it'll take just a second. I might see that this second one has moved to the top, possibly because I didn't actually do anything in it. It stayed where it was originally, but be aware of that, especially if you're tempted to use that delete button. All right, let's go up to the top again and click on Submit Data. And this is a second place that you can use to go enter your field work. You just click on Submit Data, and then under Monitoring Data, click on Submit Data again, and that'll take you to a fieldwork data entry page like this. Click on Back to go back to my view. Some of you may need to generate lab slips. Generally, those are done by DNR staff, but this is a place you can do it if that is the case that you are instructed to do so yourself. The other two items here are not things we generally use in the LMPN, although upload bulk data is something we hope that will be functioning before too long. And then down here under documents, you see the option to be able to upload a document to the SWIMS digital library. Let's go back up to search. And that just lands us back on the home page because in each of these tabs or containers, as they're sometimes referred to, you will have options to find things. So that's how that works. We'll go back up. If you click on APM and waters, those are both related databases that LMPN generally doesn't use. APM is for aquatic plant management. Waters is water body related information. And then two that you will use most likely are the Surface Water Data Viewer and the Lakes and AIS Viewer. If I click on either one of these, it's going to take me to one of the map viewers. In this case, SWDV is Surface Water Data Viewer. It opens in a brand new tab, and then it's really nice because I can go back and forth between SWIMS and the viewer to look things up. Help and Resources is where you find the SWIMS user guide under the SWIMS help section. And this is the best place to get the user guide because it's going to be the most current version. If you were to download it and just always refer to that, you might miss some updates. So it's always good to double check. And when updates are made, we will try to let you know. Then if you come all the way across the blue toolbar where the welcome back and the name is, this is a really handy spot. If you need to update something in your own profile, you click on your name and that takes you to your profile and it's already set up so that you can enable edit. We'll go over that in editing profiles for people later in another video. And then let's say you're in an office where you're sharing the computer, somebody else has to jump onto SWIMS, you can log off and then they can sign in themselves. But I'm going to go ahead and click external users again and log back in. And we'll go through these tabs. So the ones that are most often used by LMPN staff volunteers are fieldwork, stations, people, projects, resources of interest, and occasionally documents and grants. Notice that every one of them has a find browse, and in my case, new button. That's because of the permission levels I have in my assigned roles in SWIMS. So people outside of DNR and those of us who are statewide program coordinators with DNR computers available will probably not see the new button, or if they do, they will not function. The reason for that isn't that we don't trust you to make stations and resources of interest. It's because you have to have access to the ELT, which is the mapping application that's internal to DNR in order to cite these things on the maps and then drive them into the right tables. If you're the AIS coordinator for the county, you should have a new button under people, because with the project coordinator role that you are all given, that gives you the ability to create new profiles for people and to edit them. And everyone should be able to edit their own. So we'll go over these in more detail in individual videos for each, except for the grants. Grants and projects are very similar. Everything that we put into SWIMS goes into a project. However, grants are separate and they are fed into SWIMS through an automated system through the grant program. But you can look up a grant number in the projects tab. So you may actually never need to even look at the grants section here. And we'll just close it. So that's basic navigation in SWIMS. And so you can play around with this and see what takes you where. Don't be afraid to break it. You really can't. Just avoid those delete buttons. Enjoy the rest of the video series.